We want to thank our annual sponsors. And if you're interested in being a sponsor for next year, just reach out to one of us and we can set you up with that. So some of the standard rules are use this area as a safe space for questions and feedback, unmute audio and keep camera on for the discussion portion. There will be a post-event survey that'll come around, and please complete that within 7 days. So if you see a good opportunity to take a screenshot, send it to us. That would be greatly appreciated. I know it's very hard to get photos and stuff via Zoom, but if you see an opportunity, feel free to do that. Make sure you're muted and turn off your camera for the presentation. You can use the chat feature to submit your questions. We will be recording today's session. And again, if you can complete the post-event survey within 7 days. So getting to our presenter, this is Cynthia Blackwell. This is part 2 to her first part of the series that was done a couple months ago. This is Understanding Personalities to Win the Deal. Cynthia is an engaging speaker and an expert on driving results by leveraging the knowledge of human behavior and personalities. Clients and friends call her the Rainmaker because she leads them through a systematic, multi-level relationship-based planning process that is a catalyst for professional and personal growth. So in this part of the series, you're going to get a deeper dive into the personalities, and you'll be provided with additional vital points about the 5 love languages. You'll leave equipped with the tools to meet prospects, show appreciation professionally, and ensure long-term success. People buy from people they like, trust, and respect. And one of her favorite quotes is to plan the work and work the plan, which I know we use here at my company. So I just wanted to say that that was a great philosophy to live by, because that's what we all need to be doing. So Cynthia, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and turn it over to you.
Okay, well, fantastic. Well, hi, everybody. Hi, it's fantastic to be back. And it's wonderful to see you all, even if we're not in person. I hope you all have had a great morning thus far. Now, what I'm going to ask of you, since you have the ability in the chat to ask questions, by all means, pose your questions in there and they will share them with me either during Michelle or Danielle interrupt me and pose the question, or I can answer the questions at the end, whichever seems to flow easier for all of you. So let's get started and have some fun together. Let me start this from the beginning. I created a slide show for y'all, so then that way you'd have something of substance, because when we're through today, I'm going to take this, create it into a PDF, and then you will get an email version of it. So again, today is part 2, Understanding Personalities to Win the Deal, every single time. So every time you go into a presentation to present a proposal or a solution, whether it's with your boss or it's in front of a group of people that you are presenting a proposed solution to win the deal, either way, I want to give you the tools and knowledge to be able to walk out of either one of those meetings feeling like a winner. Okay, so let's move on. Shameless plug for me and my book. It's going to be released for pre-sales on September 30th, which is right around the corner. And I am so excited. If you've ever worked on a big project, you know how I feel when you get close towards the end. It's so exciting. So today I'm going to ask you, as we spend time together, to have intentionality. Choose to engage, be willing to learn, and the power of one idea. So again, leverage chat. If you've got a comment, throw it in there. If you just want to throw some claps, yes, I totally relate to that. Definitely do that. I'm asking you to take physical action on things that resonate for you and with you, because not only is it beneficial for you to think about it and go, oh yeah, that makes sense and I like that. But the physical action that you take by either writing it down, typing a question with excitement, but taking a physical action will only help it to penetrate deeper within you and bring more value at the end of the day. So be intentional as we spend time together today and as you're eating your lunch. So my top 3 goals for you today, leveraging the magical power of 3, are these 3 right here. We all have those tools in our toolbox of experiences, of skills, knowledge, all of that. And so today I merely want to invite you to open up that toolbox. I want to remind you of things that you already know. I want to give you something new to think about. And really, quite frankly, my number 1 goal for you is to give you both. Because if I give you both, now you have invested valuable time in your continued success. And then very importantly for me, I'm going to feel good because I brought value to you. So I'm being a little selfish there with you and for you. So again, leveraging the magical power of 3, we have 3 simple objectives as we spend time together today. I want to remind you, give you a reminder of DISC personalities. We spent the majority of our time in part 1 on DISC and personalities, learning a little bit more about each one, and then specifically guiding you through learning where your dot is on the graph. And so we're going to go over the graph some more and dive a little bit deeper into those personalities and communicating with them and connecting with them, relating with them. So then that way they trust us, respect us, and like us, and will buy. Okay. Now, the second objective is recognize and connect with another personality. Third is examine the 5 languages of appreciation. Now, it's the 5 languages of appreciation at work, or it's the 5 love languages by Dr. Chapman. Okay. They are really, in essence, the same thing. The difference is the 5 languages of appreciation at work are modified slightly, because we're at work and those relationships are different than at home, right? Just like our personalities will somewhat shift from work mode and being in the workplace to being at home. We don't completely change, but we do shift a little bit when we go home. It is what it is, right? Okay, so let's dig right in, shall we? So here are 2 questions that I highly recommend you always ask before you go into a meeting with anyone. Any type of meeting, anyone that I'm working with, especially one-on-one coaching, number 1, first thing that we do is their DISC profile. I would like for you to know where your dot is, what your primary personality traits are, and how to leverage the knowledge, who you are, what makes you tick, what motivates you, what your pace is, what your priorities are. Because when we have self-awareness, we understand who we are. It's so much easier to recognize someone else and then meet them where they need to be met. And if you've ever had any type of sales training, you've heard this term, become a chameleon, meet your prospect or your client where they need to be met. So in essence, that's what I'm saying to you. But first, I want you to start with you first. Just like when we're flying, the flight attendant says, hey, listen, if cabin pressure drops and the oxygen mask drops, who should you take care of first? You. Because if I know me and I can take care of me first, then it provides me with the energy and ability to take care of others and support others. So the 2 questions to ask first is, who am I? Where is my dot on this graph? And then who are they? Okay. So very importantly, you can see this graph and I'm focusing on this section right here. Okay. So these 2 personalities. Yes.
Are we supposed to be seeing your screen right now?
Yes. Can you not see it?
I can't.
I can't either. Sorry, I didn't realize we were looking at a screen.
Oh my gosh, yes. Hold on. I know I shared my screen, but let's see. I'm going to start it from the beginning. Okay?
Okay.
At least at the objectives. Sorry, y'all. I didn't realize it did that. Thank you for telling me that. Aha!
There it goes.
There we go. Okay, So from current. So these are our 3 objectives as a quick reminder, even though you heard me say them. And now we're going to go to the next slide. Okay. So everybody can see it now. Yes.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So remember, the 2 questions to ask is, who am I and who are you? Who are the people that I'm meeting with? Now, here's something else to keep in mind. When you are presenting to a group of people, my suggestion to you is think about each one of the individuals, who they are, okay? And then where their dot potentially is on the graph, and then ask yourself, who potentially is going to be leading this presentation from the other side? Who's the one that's going to be leading the questions? Who's the leader? Here's what I typically find. That person, let's say it's 4 people, there's usually one leader within that group. That's the boss for whatever reason, the chair of that decision committee, whatever that might be. Typically, whoever the leader is going to have that combined personality traits, pace, and priorities. So just keep that in mind and focus more on the leader of that group and their personality versus each individual, but still keep them in mind so you can communicate with them. Now, I hope that made sense to you, and I'll elaborate further on that in just a few moments. But where are you on this graph? Last time we got together, I asked you to ask yourself 2 simple questions, and we're going to keep going over this as we spend time together. The more I repeat it, the more it's going to absorb in for you. Okay, so the first question is, what is my pace? Am I fast-paced, active, assertive, dynamic, and bold? These are just some words, okay? So talk fast, move fast, make decisions fast, and just like rah on ya, okay? Or am I more thoughtful, more moderate paced? Am I not as loud when I talk? Am I a little more soft-spoken? It takes me a little bit longer to make decisions because I want more information. I'll have more questions. Or if you use phrases like this, let me process that, or let me noodle on that thought, then you are a C or an S. Now, again, if you're that fast-paced, bold person, assertive, you're a D or an I. So answer that question for yourself first, then go into the next question, which is my priorities. What are my priorities? Now, over here on this side, the D and the C, as you can see right here, questioning, logic focused, objective, skeptical, challenging. Now, at work, here's what it's going to look like. I'm all about the task and the process. Leave your emotions outside the door. I want to know where you're at on the project, or stick to the facts. And if you're around my age, you remember Joe Friday, just the facts, ma'am, just the facts. Okay. So if that sounds more like you and you're a fast-paced, bold person, then you're dominant. Okay. If you're more passive, analytical, you like Excel spreadsheets, and you're focused on the task and the process, you're more than likely a C. Okay. Now let's go to the other side. Now, these 2 people here, influential or steadiness, the I or the S, they are all about the relationship, wrapped up in emotion, and very concerned about connecting with you, making sure you like them. And then they want to feel good about doing business with you. They want to feel good about the relationship with you. And very importantly, they want you to feel good about doing business with them, about interacting with them. Okay. Now, if you are all about making sure that someone feels good about the work that they're doing, that they feel empowered. Notice how I keep using feel. Okay. If that resonates with you more than all about the task and the process, then you are either an I dominant or an S dominant. Now, the difference is, again, your pace. If you're fast paced, talk fast, move fast, make decisions fast and bold and dynamic and assertive and all of that. And if you are that person that comes into the office on Monday morning with pom-poms bouncing out of your hand going, woo, happy Monday, woo, Hope you had a great weekend. Woo! Then you're probably an I, and I'm willing to bet you just figured out where my dot is. Yep, that would be me. I'm a high I moving towards the D. And I'm going to touch on that in just a moment. Now, if you are more methodical, thoughtful, analytical, and you resonated with the C, with the exception of task and process and facts, I'm more about being social with people. I'm more about being empathetic and agreeable with people. I'm more that person. I don't talk a lot and have a lot to say, but when I do speak, it means something. And I mean what I say. And I'm typically the person that my colleagues at work come to because I'm that sounding board, or people come to me and usually their statement opens up with something like this. Oh, talk me off the ledge. I'm getting ready to jump. Or, oh, I'm about to blow my stack. I need some help. Can talk me through this, calm me down. Then you are an S. Now, with that, most people will have a dominant personality. In other words, a dominant meaning like me, I'm a high I. However, my dot falls in this area here going towards the D, okay? Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because just because I am a high I do also have and can turn on the traits of a dominant. I also have a little bit of the S, and I can turn that on as well, okay? However, I don't have, because I have a lot of I and D, the I for detail really isn't there. So when you receive communication from me, expect for there to potentially be a grammatical error or punctuation mistakes, because I'm moving so fast, I don't notice that stuff. If you resonate with that, then you resonate with me. Now, something else that I want to share is the complete opposite of me, the high C, or if you're a high D, your opposite is an S. And so opposites in this particular case do not attract. And it's actually most personalities, when they don't understand themselves and another personality, we will make statements like this. Oh boy, that person is very difficult to communicate with. Or, oh, that person is so difficult to work with, right? Or, oh, that person is so difficult to read. Or the opposite could be a C could say something like this. Oh, that person is way too loud. I mean, way too, and oh, I can only take her in like small doses. I have to prepare myself emotionally to interact with her because she comes on so strong, talks so fast, and is loud. Okay. And so the reason why I bring this up to you is because it's very important first to know where your dot is, and then where the other person's potential dot is. So then that way you can meet them where they need to be met. Remember, people buy from people they like, they trust, and they respect. People respect you when you put in that little extra effort to meet them where they need to be met. Now, in a sales or even in a leadership supervisory conversation, this little technique works wonders, 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 wonders. Because when we're communicating, people want to know that you are listening to them. And the easiest way to show them you're listening to them is to play what I call the verify game, which is so simple. It's this. Repeat back to them what it is you think you heard. Okay. Now, when you're in a presentation mode or in a sales meeting, the first thing to do is to repeat to someone and share with them, this is the information that I know, this is the information that I have, and I created and customized my proposal and solution specifically to meet those needs. May I share with you and recap what I know? Listen, people are always going to say, oh yes, absolutely. The other thing is when you do that and ask permission to give someone feedback, or you ask them permission to share with them what it is you think you heard or recap, They love you for it. I want you to think about the last time someone really listened to you and how it made you feel. Okay. Because it doesn't matter where your dot is on the graph. We all are living, breathing, energy filled, passionate beings. Okay. And so it doesn't matter where your dot is. When we know that the other person cares and we know that the other person is listening to us, we feel valued, we feel important. And at the end of the day, people buy from people they like, they trust, and respect. And that's what I want to help you build immediately, very quickly with people. Okay. So again, what is your pace and what are your priorities before you can recognize someone else's? Oh, go back. Okay. Now, the next thing that I want to re-emphasize for you is this. What are the other persons and each one of these personalities? What are their priorities as we are communicating with them? Okay. Now, the D, as you can see, and I want to make sure again that y'all can see this, you're also going to receive it. If there was anything that I would suggest to you that you print any slide, it's going to be this slide. Okay. The reason why I'm saying that is because before you go into a meeting, before you get on the phone with someone, very quickly, as you're reviewing the agenda and what it is that you're going to talk about, what are the top 3 goals and objectives? See, there we go with the magical power of 3. As a part of that, I want you to take 30 seconds to 2 minutes and ask yourself, who am I meeting with? Where's their dot? What are their priorities and what is their pace? So I can do a good job of meeting them where they need to be met. Now, dominance. The D also stands for demanding, driven. Okay. They are demanding and driven. This personality, if you give them the document, the proposal, the first thing they're going to do is they're going to go to the back page because they are type A people. They are very much about what's in it for me. What do I get out of it? And so here's a perfect example. If I am selling or presenting a software application and it's going to require a transfer time and installation time, we're going to convert from this app to this app, there will be dual time. You see where I'm going? You're already getting a headache just thinking about it. If you've ever experienced making a change like that, your IT, bank, anything like that, there's pain involved with change. Now, the D and the I thrive and live off change. They're excited because they're so fast paced. They go looking for it. What can we change? What can we make better? The C's and the S's are going, well, hold on now. Slow down. Let's ask some questions. Why are we doing this? Why would we want to do this? How are we going to do this? And very importantly, they're going to go in. Who the hell's going to do it? Because my workload is packed. Okay, back to the D. It's very important that you give them the power that they need, that you stroke their ego, that you also remind them and yourself in conversations, they are the decision maker. They want to make sure you're not taking advantage of them. So share with them key things that are important to that personality and the key things that will be of benefit to them and make their life easier. Okay. Now, here's fears for them: loss of control, remember, being taken advantage of, and or showing you any type of vulnerability or weakness. So if you see vulnerability or weakness, don't let them know you saw it or noticed it. Just make a mental note of it. Okay. The other thing is with a dominant personality, and quite frankly, with all 4 of them, ask them permission to take notes. Just do like this. Is it okay if I take notes? Because for me, this is a line that I use, and I'm being completely honest with people when I say this. Is it okay if I take notes and write things down? Because at this phase in life, if I don't write it down, it's going to be gone and I probably won't remember. And I want to make sure to capture everything. it also sends a very clear message to the other person that you're listening to them and what they have to say is important. Now, notice that I'm focusing on that as we're talking about this dominant personality, okay? Remember, dominant and demanding. They are also going to ask for 10 times more than what you're offering. Before you go present to this personality, remember that their negotiating skills are going to start immediately. They're going to want this much when you're offering this much. So give them a little bit more. So then that way you've got a little bit more of a wiggle room for negotiations with them. Okay. Now, things that you're going to notice about this person is their self-confidence. They're almost sometimes going to come across as condescending, cocky, and you know, that animal that goes, yeah, sometimes they're going to come across a little bit as a jackass, but just know that it's not personal. It has nothing to do with you. It's about them. That's who they are. So embrace who they are, know who they are, and feed them how they want to be fed and what they want to be fed in order for you to win the deal. Okay. Now I'm going to stay over here on this side because they are all about the facts and they're all about the task and the process. Okay. And very skeptical, and they can seem rather negative. Now the C here stands for conscientious, calculated. Okay. And at any rate, very conscientious, very calculated. They are also many times, more often than not, very difficult to read. You're not quite sure what they're thinking or how they feel because the expression on their face never changes. The body language is difficult to read because they're not like me, very animated. Okay. Now a D sometimes can show you those similar characteristics, especially if their dot is a little bit closer to the C. They will also be more dramatic and flamboyant if they're a little closer to the I. Okay. Now, they can be, both of these personalities, more so the C, very challenging. Now, here is something very important that I'm going to share with you about a C. If you are communicating, presenting to a C, you better check your grammar and your spelling before you hand them a document. And so I'm telling you right now, there's more than likely a mistake of some sort in my presentation. And I can guarantee you, if we have any C's on this call today, they have already noticed it. Here's what a C will do. A C will notice mistakes first, judge you on them, and then come back and read it for content. And if your content is really good, you're going to get brownie points for the content, but they're still going to remember the errors that you had and they're going to hold them against you. Okay. Now, what I'm sharing with you is generally speaking. So if there are any C's in the group, I mean, no offense. I'm merely making sure that people meet you where you need to be met. So don't be mad at me. Okay. Now, next, let's talk about these two emotionally packed and relationship driven personalities. Okay. Now, if you resonated more with the I stands for influential, inspiring. And so listen, if you are presenting an incredible proposal to a group of people and you want this deal, or you want to win business, you want to grow your business, find the I on your team and have them lead. Okay. The reason why you potentially want them to lead is because they're going to present with passion and enthusiasm and invigorate and share that energy. Now I'm going to press pause for just a second and share something very key and critical and important. And I want to emphasize this with you. As human beings, we are comprised of two very simple things: energy and emotion. As living, breathing human beings, we have the ability to share our emotion and our energy with other people. We also have the ability to absorb it from others. Okay. And so that is the reason why I'm highly recommending to you that if you have an I on the team, that you leverage that part of their personality and put them potentially in the forefront to really present the sexiest part of your proposal, the high energy part of your proposal, and also potentially have your high I invite and address those objections. Now, if you haven't read the book, The Tipping Point, I highly recommend you take a look at The Tipping Point, because the tipping point leverages the magical power of 3. You have to have these 3 components in a sales arena in order for you to have a shift to get a close. You got to have the connector, the person that opened the door. You've got to have the maven or the expert in the field. And then you got to have the closer, the person that's going to ask for the deal with no fear. These 2 people, the connector and this person, the closer asking for the business with no fear, is typically an I or a D. Okay. I hope that makes sense. If it makes sense, do some clapping in the chat for me. Okay. Now, next, the high I is very social. They're motivated by social recognition. So if you want to pump up this person that you're presenting to, stroke their ego. The D likes their ego stroked as well, but in a slightly different way. It's more of a professional way. Whereas the high I, if you compliment them on their scarf, oh, thank you. Yeah. You know, I don't see very many women wearing scarves anymore. And you just really, I mean, it just looks fantastic. Makes me want to go buy a scarf. Okay. You just made a relational deposit in that relationship. Okay. Now, here are some limits and things that we should keep an eye out for a high I when we are presenting to them, as well as expecting and waiting on follow-up from them and a decision from them. They get distracted very easily. Have y'all seen that movie Up, Squirrel? Oh, something shiny and pretty. Oh, wow. They get distracted very easily and they will take you off on a tangent. So when you are presenting to a group or you're presenting to a high I, recognize that. And here's an easy way to bring them back to the agenda. You can do something like this. And I use it all the time because I know I'm like that. I'm cognizant, especially if I'm presenting and working with another I. We'll never get anything done. We'll just talk about everything about life and just have a great old time, but we won't solve any problems and we won't make any decisions, which completely defeats the purpose because time is money, right? Okay, easy way to bring them back is to do just like this. You know, Barbara, if we have any Barbaras on the call, hi, Barbara. You know, Barbara, that was funny. And I'm so glad we had an opportunity to, you know, like just go off on a little tangent there. But here's what I'm going to do. I want to be respectful of your time. And so I'm going to bring us back. Is that okay? Thank you, Barbara. I really appreciate you. And I appreciate your time and understanding. Okay. Now, here is something else that I want to emphasize about a high I. They are very charming. They're enthusiastic and optimistic. Okay. The reason why I'm focusing on the optimism for just a moment is because these 2 personalities, the D and the C, they are much more skeptical. The reason why we want the I to handle and manage objections, generally speaking, is because they will turn that skepticism into a win. They'll turn it around. Yes, I bet that last transition was painful for you if those things actually took place. What I can promise you is that there will be hiccups, there will be bumps in the road, but what I can guarantee you is my team will be with you on every step of the way. And by us having a protocol sheet that we tailor for you and this transition, we will be proactive and avoid the depth of those bumps and the pains that we will feel along the way. Is that helpful for you, Barbara? Does that, I mean, how does that make you feel? What do you think about that, Barbara? Do you like that idea? And did you have that before? See how I was able to turn that around and make it into more of a positive. Okay, moving on. Now let's talk about this high S. This S personality. S stands for stable and steady. They move at the same pace. You can always count on them. They're a little more social, but not a chatty Cathy. They're not flamboyant, and for the most part, generally speaking, not high energy. But again, they're like E.F. Hutton. When they speak, it's profound. When they tell a joke or, make a funny, you're laughing because it's really funny. They are also the person that's going to talk us off the ledge. They are also a person that's going to be a great expert or maven. Your C's and your S's are perfect to act as your maven in a sales arena or when presenting a proposal. Because they are methodical, they're going to think about what the best answer should be before just rushing it out of their mouth. They also won't interrupt the other person. They will allow the other person to finish their thought and finish their asking their question, where an I and a D will just jam right in there, interrupt them, answer the question they think the other person is going to ask. And then the other person is going, yeah, no, well, that's not what I was going to ask. So if you'd let me finish, which just irritates the other person, right? So again, getting back to the S, this person, their priority is this: giving support, maintaining stability, and they love collaborating. A high I doesn't like to do anything by themselves. A D will do things by themselves, but they prefer collaboration and doing things together as long as you do it their way. The S wants nothing but collaboration. They will go create their portion by themselves so then that way they can process and have quiet time, but they want to collaborate with others. They want to bring their piece and put it as a big piece of the pie to solve people's problems. Okay. Is all this making sense? If it is, claps in the chat for me, please. Okay. Now, this person fears loss of stability, swift, quick changes to their status quo, and offending others. This is why I'm emphasizing to you, the S will do this. They'll look away from you. And I know many S's, and so many of them do this. Or something like this. Sound familiar? Can you think of people that you're already working with or going to be presenting to in the potential near future that do this? Okay. 54 to 60% of communication is nonverbal. If you just pay attention to people, they will tell you where their dot is on this graph. Okay. So let's move on now. So here's the next thing that I want to emphasize to you. No matter where your dot is on the graph, morning affirmations and how you start your morning and how you set yourself up for success is vital to winning the deal. It's vital because if you believe you are well equipped and you pump yourself up before you walk in the door and you're prepared, no matter what, you're going to close something. Either you're going to close the door, qualify it, and close the door and move on to somebody who is going to buy, or you're going to get closer to winning that deal. You're going to feel better. You're going to know that you are the top pick out of the number of people that they're meeting with. Does that make sense to you? I hope it does. So every morning, as you start your day, I'm going to ask you to say 3 key things to yourself. Today, I am fearless and unstoppable. Today, I am fearless and ready to conquer any situation. Notice fearless is twice. Fear is the devil. Don't allow fear to cripple you. Salespeople and deals are lost because of fear. Fear of the unknown, fear of rejection. Walk in there fearless. And if you have to, have you ever heard of the Wonder Woman pose or the leader pose? Just stand up and put your hands on your hips and just 3 deep cleansing breaths. Throw your hands up in the air. It's the power pose, y'all. Prep yourself up to win the deal and expect it. Now, the third one, today I am equipped with the knowledge and confidence to leverage towards a win. Don't accept anything less. It's okay to be upfront with people and direct and say, I am strategically coming after you and this proposal and this bid and this business. Nobody's going to take better care of you than me and my team. So what's your decision? You ready to move forward now? Then hand them a pen. There you go. Let's do this. I'm ready. Are you? All right. Now, again, all of this positive mental attitude, all of this, you leveraging this knowledge that I'm sharing with you about personalities, it all begins in the morning. It begins over coffee as you're waking up. It begins as you're reviewing your calendar. Who am I meeting with? Why am I meeting with them? Are we still recording? Are we good? Okay. And again, you know, people that you're reading about in the news, if you are searching and taking a look at people on LinkedIn, you can even, with the knowledge I'm sharing with you today, take a pretty good wild guess as to where their dot is on the graph. Okay. So when does all this begin and you preparing to win the deal? It starts in the morning with you and your mental attitude and capacity. Okay. Now let's talk about the 5 languages of appreciation at work. Remember, it's the 5 languages, love languages by Dr. Chapman, the 5 languages of appreciation at work by Dr. Chapman in partnership with Dr. Paul White. Okay. So what are the 5 languages? Here they are. It's real simple. And again, if you just pay attention to people, they will tell you. This stuff is key and important, not only from a sales perspective or BD perspective, but it's also key when you're working with your colleagues, when you're facilitating a meeting, when you are supervising or leading a team. People buy and follow. People they like, they respect, and trust. Keep remembering that. And the way to build trust with people is to meet them where they need to be met. Okay, so first is words of affirmation. Okay, second is quality time. Third are acts of service. Fourth are gifts. And fifth is physical touch. Now, I have them in order of where I seem to find the most of it. Okay. Now, words are typically, and quality time are the top 2 that I typically find most with people, even at work. Okay. It doesn't matter the generation, because now we're not even touching on generations, but we've got 5 generations of the workplace, first time in history. Okay. But people love being shown appreciation, especially your prospects. They love to hear thank you. If you try words of affirmation first and you see someone go, oh, thanks. That means it's okay. I mean, they appreciated what you had to say, but didn't really resonate with them. But if you say those words to them and then also say, I'd love the opportunity to spend some quality time with you to go over some key things that I've heard from you that I feel are important for you. Would that work? If they let them go, yeah, absolutely. Okay, yeah. How much time do we need? See, again, if you just pay attention to people, they will tell you what's important to them. Now, acts of service. See, I get so excited. I'm starting to have a power surge. It's okay. I won't burst into flames, I promise. But again, acts of service. At home, acts of service are vacuuming, doing the dishes, making the bed, getting, moving the clothes from the washer to the dryer. Hey, honey, I finished another load of laundry. Yay. Acts of service at work are this. I would like to spend some quality time with you to have a stronger understanding of the transition from app A to our app and what are vital things that are important to you. So I make sure that I have the right people on the team to get this done for you. Now, I just combined words, quality time, and acts of service, all 3 of them. Okay. If you just pay attention to people, they will tell you what is important to them and where to meet them. And listen, if you're not quite sure, ask them. And here's a real easy way to ask them. Barbara, if I were to show you appreciation and say thank you, what would be more meaningful to you? Would it be quality time, or would you rather I buy you a gift like tickets to a magic game? Give them two choices. Don't just go. So what would be your language of appreciation? What do you think? Because you're making them work. People are lazy. Human beings, we're lazy anymore. Our attention span is about as big as this, if not smaller. And we don't want to work. We've got enough stuff on our plate, enough stuff on our task list. Just make it simple for me. Give me two options. I'll choose option A or option B, or I'll tell you neither, which just provides you with an opportunity to dabble into the others and see what others. Okay. Now, next. Here is some quick questions and a quiz to ask yourself, right? Or think about as you are communicating with the other person. So this one in particular, you can take a look at it and spend some quality time on it for yourself. This is also will work for you at home with your children, with your spouse, with your parents, by the way. Once you know this stuff, you can't erase it or delete it and get rid of it. Okay. Here's the first one. I like to receive notes of affirmation, or I like to be hugged. Which resonates with you more? For me, immediately I'm going, well, I like both, but I would much rather receive a note of affirmation telling me how fantastic I am versus a hug. Okay. Because I can get a hug from anyone, and I'm a touchy-feely person. Does that make sense to you? If it does, give me some claps or some hearts in chat. Okay. All right. Now, self-care and relational deposits. Again, I want to reemphasize, you need to know where your dot is on the graph. So then that way, if I understand me, I can do a better job of relating, connecting, and understanding another person. The other thing is, if I understand my language of appreciation, I can then do a better job of showing appreciation to the other person, recognizing the other person's language of appreciation. Now, give to get and bank the time. Okay. This is all about relational deposits. People buy from people they like, they trust, and they respect. And so here are 3 questions, again, leveraging the magical power of 3. How should I follow up with them? When should I follow up with them? What should I do to show appreciation? So if they are words of affirmation, people are not writing professional love notes any longer. I couldn't tell you the last time I received a handwritten note for someone just saying thank you for my time, or just saying thank you for my business. Think outside the box and give to people what it is that they need. That's what makes you stand out from your competitors or perceived competitors. Okay. I hope that makes sense for you. All right, let's wrap this up and get moving towards some questions. I hope y'all have enjoyed my presentation today. Now, the objectives, I want to make sure that we covered them. I reminded you of DISC personalities. Second, recognize and connect with another personality, but figuring out yours first. Okay. And then third, examine the 5 languages of appreciation. I believe that we did all 3 of those, but in a moment, I want you to share with me if we were able to do that for you. Now, very importantly, I wanted to remind you of tools that you already have. Maybe pull some out, maybe dust one off, maybe sharpen it up, or maybe add a new one. So reminder, new or both. Remember, my goal with you today was to give you both. I want to equip you with all of the tools possible for you to go out and win the deal every single time. Or at minimum, close some doors, close some stuff, and move on to people that will buy. Now, here's my other piece of advice to you. Always dance as if no one were watching. Sing as if no one were listening. People are comprised of 2 very simple things, energy and emotion, and we have the ability to share it with others. We also have the ability to absorb it. And I don't know about you, but I would much rather have some positive energy and positive emotion than that negative Eeyore, right? Yeah, no, don't want that. And remember, people want to spend time and buy from people they like, they trust and respect, but very importantly, people that they connect with and that they enjoy their company. They enjoy working with them. Okay. All right. Now, 3 things. Next steps for you. Take action now. Whatever resonated for you today, make sure that you talk about it, that you hold yourself accountable to implementing it and using it. And the best way to do it is to use it today. This afternoon, I promise you, if you say right now, you know what, the 5 languages of appreciation just really resonated for me today. I love that stuff. I want to make sure I get an opportunity this afternoon to use it. Just by you throwing it out to the power of the universe, they're going to provide you, or the power of the universe will provide you with the opportunity to leverage it. Now, the second thing is put some self-accountability in place. You know other people on this call. So I want you to reach out to others and say, so, hey, what was your favorite thing about today? What are the top 3 things you got out of it, right? Talk about it. Because if you talk about it and hold each other accountable, you're going to increase the chances of you actually leveraging and using these techniques and approaches that I've shared with you today to win more deals, and you will win more deals. Third, share your top 3 with as many people as you possibly can. Share them at work and share them at home, because I assure you, the stuff I'm sharing with you, you use at the office and very easily you use them at home. Okay. All right. Now, selfishly, I'm going to ask you to follow me on social media because I post stuff every single day. And here shortly, I'm getting ready to double, potentially triple posting and information that will resonate for you. It's going to be all about sales and BD. It's going to be all about leadership, or it's going to be business acumen for you as a business owner. Okay. So I invite you to follow me on social media. And also I invite you to pick up a copy of The Magical Power of 3 on September 30th. Pre-sales start, so you can reserve your copy, either digital or hard copy. So time and attention are priceless. So thank you very much for yours today. I sincerely appreciate it. And now I'm going to stop sharing my screen, so then that way we can potentially address some questions.
So I have a question for you from Noelle. She was wondering if you had any tips for an S leading a prep for a presentation where the project manager is a C and 2 key presenters are Ds.
Okay, so let me make sure I heard the question correctly. So I'm a high S. How do I effectively prepare to present to a high C?
The project manager is a C and then the presenters are Ds.
Oh, the presenters are Ds. Okay, well, then I'm going to say, get the Ds prepared and ready and have them practice slowing down in their presenting, and ask questions, pose questions at different key points of the presentation to pose to the Cs, because this will help you to know that they're listening, they haven't stopped listening, and 2, they're processing, taking notes, and absorbing what you're presenting to them.
And so the next question I have is, what if you fall somewhere in the middle of one of those and you're not necessarily more of one than the other? Is it possible to fall in the middle?
It is. So 80 to 85% of people will have a high primary and then also flow into a couple of the others. So at the end of the day, we have personality traits and characteristics of all 4 of them, you know, on a good day or a not so good day. But 80 to 85% of people will fall into a primary with a little bit of a couple of the others. About 5% to 7% will fall real close to the line and have real strong traits of both, but they will still have a primary of one of them because their dot falls on the other side of that line. Now, a very 5%, 3 to 5% of people will fall dead center. And depending upon the situation, can turn on any one of those personalities as a primary. But I have yet to meet that person with the dot dead center.
Okay. Next question. I'm a very high I and have the hardest time with my C's. I feel that they don't want to connect and can be a bit robotic. Sorry. These meetings tend to be, you have 15 minutes, now sell. And that seems too salesy. I often feel like my energy is too overwhelming for them. So how does she kind of combat those feelings?
Okay. The best way for you to combat those feelings is for you to emotionally prepare yourself before you go into the meeting. I'm going to be meeting with these C's. These are the top 3 things that are important to them. And those are the 3 things that I need to focus on. And so literally when you come in, you say, hi, Bob. Hi, hello, gentlemen. I'm making an assumption they're men. Hello, gentlemen. Thank you very much for your time today. Thank you for the 15 minutes. With your permission, I'm going to dig deep. I'm just going to dig right in. Is that okay? So just dig right in. And then at key points, if it's 3 points that you're presenting, after each point, ask a question. Not a yes or no question. Ask them a question where you're going to get an answer from them. And then at the end, it's okay to ask them, how do you feel about the information that I've shared with you today? Did this resonate for you? Could you see a potential opportunity for us to partner and work together? So you can start asking sales closing questions with them. The other thing is, before you get into the meeting, you can set things up with them. You can send them information. You could send them questions. You could send them the top 3 points you're going to focus on in that 15 minutes. I hope that was helpful, because I'm with you. I'm a high I.
She gave you a thumbs up.
Yay.
So does anyone else have any questions? I think we have time for one more if anyone has any. We're waiting for any more to come in. I forgot to mention earlier that we will be making a $50 donation to Second Harvest Food Bank of Central Florida on behalf of Cynthia for presenting to us today. So thank you, Cynthia. We very much appreciate it. And I also wanted to mention that we have a couple of things coming up. We've got the virtual members only coffee talk, which is every 3rd Thursday. And then our next session will be October 27th. This is about how to build and run a successful ad campaign. And then also CIRC is coming up. So save the date. That's March 23rd to 25th. And we have someone from Austin. So from the Austin chapter. So they're saying hello. That's pretty, I like seeing different people from around the country joining our presentations.
Well, I'm originally from Texas, San Antonio. So yeehaw.
Yeehaw. Well, thank you, everyone. And especially thank you, Cynthia. We really enjoyed this.
Well, wonderful. I look forward to an invitation to return.
Absolutely.
And I'm definitely submitting my application as a speaker for the conference.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.